Are you ready?
Yeah. Woo!
What's going on, everyone? For WrestleTrivia, I'm your host, Kevin J. Callis.
Yeah!
And you're watching episode 50 of Wrestling Jeopardy, the ultimate interactive game show where you're the contestant.
Okay, big shot. I challenge you.
And in honor of this milestone, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Now let's go to the board and check out the categories that you'll be quizzed on. Starting with Hey Yo, Scott Hall, followed by Bad Guys. Our third category is Name That Ricky. Up next, Intercontinental Champions. And our fifth and final category, as voted on by the members of this channel. And if you'd like to become a channel member and be a part of this creative process, be sure to click on the join button below. And the members' choices this week were D-Generation X, woo, the Four Horsemen, and the New World Order. And the winning category is D-Generation X. And that's how it means it's time for the 200-point jobber round. This is the easiest round in Wrestling Jeopardy.
This is gonna be a fun show. You better be enjoying it right the now.
And here comes the first clue of the jobber round. Alongside Hulk Hogan and Kevin Nash, Scott Hall was a founding father of this defiant faction. Which also, by the way, had the greatest theme song in wrestling history. Survey says, who is the New World Order? We're on to Bad Guys for 200. This wrestler just sold his soul to the final boss at the end of 2025's WWE Elimination Chamber Premium Live event. I guess now you could say he's a bad man. Who is John Cena? On to the third clue of the jobber round from Name That Ricky. Nicknamed the Dragon, this wrestler's WrestleMania 3 classic with the Macho Man Randy Savage is considered one of the greatest matches of all time. Definitely one of the matches you want to show non-wrestling fans. Who is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat? And the fourth clue of the jobber round brings us to Intercontinental Champions. The WWE Universe gathered at London's Wembley Stadium to witness the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith win his first Intercontinental Championship in the main event of this 1992 pay-per-view. Now the Bulldog was going to win at SummerSlam 1992, whether he wanted to or not, because, well, he's bizarre. And we finish off the jobber round with this clue. Shawn Michaels and Triple H brought their sophomore humor to the forefront in late 1997, prompting this wrestler to slam the duo for being a couple of degenerates. And that would be Bret the Hitman Hart. And moving on, it's time for the second round, each clue worth 400 points. Competing in the WWE as Razor Ramon, Scott was also a member of this group of backstage buddies. These guys were just too sweet. Of course, Shane Douglas and Bam Bam Bigelow would beg to differ. Who were the Clique? Time for more Bad Guys for 400. This self-made millionaire's investing acumen earned him a reputation as a stock market genius, while his devastating clothesline from hell propelled him to the top of the WWE. And he was also a wrestling god. Who is JBL? And we're on to Name That Ricky for the second time. The revolution will absolutely be televised now that this Ricky has taken his talents to NXT. I admit, the name change at first, I thought it was a little sus, you know?
Exactly!
But once it marinated a little bit like a pot of jambalaya, I loved it. The correct answer, who is Ricky Saints? Here comes the second clue from Intercontinental Champions. After WrestleMania 6, a tournament was designed to crown a new Intercontinental Champion after the title was vacated by this wrestler. As a result of winning the Ultimate Challenge, the Ultimate Warrior would vacate the IC belt in order to focus on being the new WWF Champion. Let's finish off the 400-point round with a clue from D-Generation X. Commissioner Sergeant Slaughter attempted to sideline DX's chaotic behavior by forcing Shawn Michaels and Triple H to face each other for this championship. You know, one might say this was a prelude to the finger poke of doom, but no one really gave a crap or a hoot about the now defunct European Championship. All right, 10 questions down, 15 to go, plus the Daily Double and Final Jeopardy. We move on to the 600-point round now with a clue from Scott Hall. Scott's emotional WWE Hall of Fame speech in 2014 ended with the line, "Hard work pays off, dreams come true, bad times don't last, but..." I still get a little misty every time I hear this speech. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do. And speaking of bad guys, here comes the next clue. All right, here we go. It's the Daily Double. I hope you know your bad guys, your evildoers, your villains, your rascals, your demagogues. Think it over, talk amongst yourselves, and place your wager. All right, time is up. Here's the Daily Double clue. Randy Orton introduced the WWE Universe to his Legend Killer gimmick when he RKO'd this WWE Hall of Famer during an episode of Raw in September 2003. You know, knowing what we know now, I'll say it, she definitely deserved it. Who was the fabulous Moolah? And we move on to name that Ricky for the third time. As one half of the legendary Rock and Roll Express, this Ricky is widely regarded as one of wrestling's greatest babyfaces. And he was also one hell of a singer. I mean, Boogie Woogie Dance Hall? The correct answer, who is Ricky Morton? All right, we've passed the halfway mark. We're on to Intercontinental Champions for 600. After a much-needed name change, this wrestler surged to relevance by capturing the Intercontinental Championship in June of 2013, joining his father as the only father-son pair to have both held the IC title. Not many superstars have a legacy as rich as Curtis Axel. Let's finish off the 600-point round with the third clue from D-Generation X. Weeks after the Montreal Screwjob, DX invited this Hart Foundation member to join the group, which was nothing more than a ruse. And this ruse was no laughing matter for Jim the Anvil Neidhart. We begin the 800-point round with Scott Hall. Given his resemblance to this 1980s television star, Scott was given the nickname Magnum early in his career while wrestling for the American Wrestling Association. And that would be Tom Selleck. We move on now to the second clue from the 800-point round. Inducted into the National Polish-American Sports Hall of Fame in June of 2007, this bad guy was one of pro wrestling's brutalist villains. And a fun little fact for you, the last name of Kalas used to be, back in the day, Kalashevsky. So I definitely know a little bit about Polish Americans, but this guy and his stomach claw were pure evil, who was Killer Kowalski. Here comes Name That Ricky for 800. During an appearance on Busted Open Radio in 2024, Ric Flair revealed that he wanted to be known by this ring name early in his career. The Nature Boy has gone on record many times stating that he was heavily influenced by Dusty Rhodes, and early in his career he wanted to be the American Dream's brother and called Rambling Ricky Rhodes. On to IC Champs for 800 points. This Puerto Rican superstar became the WWE's first Triple Crown champion when he defeated Ken Patera for the IC title back in December of 1980. This guy definitely deserves his flowers. I mean, he's rarely mentioned in the same breath as like Bruno or Hogan or Cena. But Pedro Morales' accomplishments are the equal of any superstar to ever lace up a pair of boots. And here comes the final clue before the 1,000 point round. Hoping to reform D-Generation X in his battle against this group in 2009, Triple H found Shawn Michaels working in a cafeteria following his loss to The Undertaker at WrestleMania 25. Yes, HBK, quote-unquote, quit wrestling and decided to start flipping burgers and super kicking little 8-year-old girls, while Triple H was having a heck of a time dealing with the legacy.
Hey, Oos!
Yeah.
Please hit my music!
Yeet.
And it's time for the main event.
Oh my.
If you think you're a diehard wrestling fan, these 5 questions are guaranteed to put your knowledge to the test.
You want a war?
Biatch!
And we begin with Scott Hall for the final time. Before becoming the Diamond Stud in WCW, Scott was given this snappy moniker that relegated him to Jobberland. I can't be the only person who would have loved to have heard Tony Schiavone call a match between Vader and Gator Scott Hall. That wouldn't have put many butts in seats, I guess. On to Bad Guys for the final time. When this Syrian madman stepped onto American soil for the first time in the 1960s, he brought with him a brand of hardcore carnage that had never been seen before. Considered by many as the father of Extreme, he was also Sabu's uncle, the original Sheik. Here comes Name That Ricky for the final time. The top heel of MTV's short-lived Wrestling Society X. This Ricky is better known as TNA's Judas Macias or Mil Muertes from Lucha Underground. And his name is Ricky Banderas. On to IC Champs for the final time. Threatened twice by legal action, WWE redesigned the Intercontinental title in 1998 and 2011, with these 2 wrestlers being the respective recipients of the newly designed championship belts. This fun little fact is quite appropriate in this day and age. Who are The Rock and Cody Rhodes? Here comes the final clue on the board before Final Jeopardy. Famous for mocking their rivals, DX parodied The Corporation in 1998, with Triple H appearing as The Croc, Road Dogg playing Mr. McMahon, Billy Gunn playing Shane McMahon, and X-Pac cosplaying as this wrestler. And since this is episode 50, I'll give you an extra 50 points if you know who China played. Well, China was the big boss man, and X-Pac played the world's most dangerous man, who is Ken Shamrock. So there you go, the board has been wiped cleaner than the final boss's dome.
You bald fraud!
One clue remains to determine if you are the ultimate wrestling trivia challenge champion. This episode's final Jeopardy category is Rodzilla Runs Wild. Skipping practice to smoke cigars in the ring and do God knows what in his tour bus, the Worm took the NWO to a whole new level back in the late 90s. So go ahead and make your wager to test your knowledge of Dennis Rodman's wrestling career. And time is up. Let's check out the final Jeopardy clue from Rodzilla Runs Wild. In his debut match at Bash at the Beach 1997, this maneuver was the first move that Rodman performed after locking up with Lex Luger. Was it A, an armbar, B, an arm drag, C, a headlock, or D, a shoulder tackle? Good luck. And Dennis the Menace was so cool he didn't even take his sunglasses off when he arm dragged the total package. And that does it for this episode of Wrestling Jeopardy. That's 50 shows down. God knows, maybe 1,000 more to go. Who knows? All I can say is thank you so much for being a part of this channel's community. I couldn't do this without you guys. You are the best. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because my name is Kevin J. Callis.
Yeah.
And I'll see you next time.